Today's tech tip, we're going to be talking about a scary LLM story and office story. So this one is not a how-to, it's a how not to. It's how not to have this happen to your environment. Some of this, I'm going to very much anonymize the company that this happened to. They are a company in the healthcare space, I will say, so they do deal with a lot of data. But what they were smart about doing was making sure that healthcare data did not go into their local LLM. They built a private version of a cloud-based LLM, so they had their own repository. They did what's called RAG, which is where you take, it's augmented retrieval is what RAG means. It's where you take a whole bunch of data and you make it available to the LLM. Well, they started down this path and had some decent guardrails. Looked like it was going the right way. They started exposing a little bit more financial data to it so that you could run what-if type reporting. They didn't have a whole lot of secrets that the people that were using this were not able to see. Sales can, go in and now do what would my sales be to this particular client? What would it look like if we double the amount of sales to this client? So good stuff. Where it went a little bit off the rails was the accounting department also gets the HR census data of who works in the company, how long they've been there, the onboards, the offboards. That's very important automation information. That is something that a lot of companies are automating today. So they're taking data out of their payroll system. That census data is flowing into different systems like the accounting system. So that data was meant to flow into the accounting system, but also because of that was exposed to the company BI AI chatbot. And what it allowed the sales team to do was, what is the CEO's salary? And it gave it back to him. And it was accurate because that data was in the data set that went into the RAG layer to go into the LLM and didn't have any safeguards against that. There was some other important internal information that was probably not wanted to be in there. Now, there is also a funny story to this that is a little bit redeeming. I will preface and say I love the guys at McKinsey and their auditors and their consultants and everybody that we've ever worked with there have been great. But this company uses a company like a McKinsey that you hire MBAs that come in and tell you how to better do your business. A couple of the biz dev people decided, I'm going to use the LLM and give it some documentation, say, here's a bunch of white papers written by McKinsey, here's a previous McKinsey report, give me what a McKinsey auditor would say about this data set. And it did. It spit out in minutes what would have been days worth of that auditor and consultant coming on site and looking at the data and it gave them that report. So that was a very good use of the LLM, and it's why you do want to start thinking about doing that, especially if you've got a lot of company data that is beneficial for forecasting and giving you that roadmap of where to drive your company. That is where this type of RAG automation and flow, you should be looking at what to do. And this is something we will be talking about in our webinars very extensively. I'll make sure that there's a link to the webinar sign up in the description here. But this is the type of thing you need to think of, especially if you're in the CEO suite, the C-suite, the governance layer, how to have both. You want to be able to get those McKinsey type answers very quickly and cost effectively and make that data available to give you that roadmap of where you're going. But you want to also make sure that you're not causing additional problems by having sensitive corporate information. I understand why that went in. That gives them the cost. It gives them their SGA costs. It does belong in the accounting system. It just should have been sanitized and the guardrails should have been up to prevent that from happening.